Imagine waking up every morning. Logically, everything is safe, but your heart still races. You are feeling the same emotions. You are avoiding certain emotions, certain conversations, certain places. And there is something on the other happening which is still transforming you to that painful moment which happened to you a couple of years or couple of days ago. And there are certain emotions which are not fully understood by you. The past is over, but still you are racing. And but logically everything is just perfect, but still your body isn't ready to believe that everything is normal and good. This is the central question which is asked in the book called The Body Keeps a Score by Bessel van der Kolk. While reading this book, this was the book which there was certain part of me which was avoiding to read this book. Even while reading the book, there were two parts in me. One, a part of me which really wanted to read this book and to know why, but there was other part of me which was in fear to read this book. This book was a page turner for sure, but also there was a part of me which was not ready to turn the page. So yeah, this while reading this book, this is the first time in all the books which I've read over like 60 books till now. Among this is the first book where I have felt two different types of me reading of this amazing book. So yeah, let's get dive into the book and let's see what's in the book. And I highly recommend book. As a 20-year-old, it was a perfect time to read this book, and everyone should read, especially as an adult. For a very long time, the trauma was very misunderstood. The war situation which you have gone through as a childhood, or the influence that any bad influence that you had around, childhood abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, accident, natural disaster. Everyone, after these situations happened, everyone had told you to be stronger, stay positive, and forget about this all these things. But modern neuroscience tells a very interesting thing. Trauma is not simply a bad memory stored somewhere in the mind. It can alter the way brain processes information, influence how the nervous system responds to stress, shape relationships after physical health, even change how some experience their own body. In other words, trauma isn't just remembered, it is lived, sometimes in every single day. Personally, if I look back how I had the childhood, it does reflect in my day-to-day life as an adult for sure. Those certain things which you had ignored or your surrounding people had ignored when you were a child, it eventually shows up when you are an adult, and it shows up, like for example, insecurities. There is certain incident which had happened when I was in first and grade, and it suddenly resurfaced in my life when I was 11th standard student, which is just so unlikely, because it just sometimes it just takes one cue which triggers your entire nervous system. And there is a something that your body always remembers every single thing that has happened to you. Your mind may forget, but your body would never. This is absolutely the one of the most beautifully written book. It was published in 2014, and at that time until now, it is one of the best sellers. Right now, I'm in 2026. Still, many people recommend reading this book by physicians, by practice healers, by educators, by social workers, by trauma survivors all around the world. Inspired, this book is the most popular books among the all the times from since 2014. But still, it's not the easy book, which is not an easy book to read about mental illness, recovery, and human nature itself. It is a book which gives you a connection between the mind and body. What is the connection between those? How some things your mind forgets but your body doesn't. And it rather explaining every single chapter to you, I will go through in this video. I will go through the central ideas and key understandings which are shown in this book. So yeah. Before we begin into the what is this book all about, what are the central themes and ideas discussed in the book, let us talk about the author Bessel van der Kolk, MD. So Bessel van der Kolk is a psychiatrist whose career has been devoted mostly to the understanding trauma. Over the decades, he had worked with individuals who had experienced war, abuse, neglect, catastrophic accidents, and other profoundly distressing events. His research and clinical practice shaped the modern understanding of post traumatic stress or disorder (PTSD), and he has become one of the leading voices arguing about how trauma affects far more than a person's thoughts. His work has been brought together the psychiatry, neuroscience, developmental psychology, and emerging therapeutic approaches in the way that they were unusual at the time. Instead of focusing exclusively on the medication or traditional psychotherapy, he has in being interested in the broader question: what actually helps people regain a sense of safety and control all over their lives. The title of the book, Body Keeps a Score, is nothing but a metaphor. It doesn't say that muscles or organs store the memories. It says that overwhelming experience can have a lasting effect on your nervous system. And in this book, he also argues and makes the reader think about that no two person can react to the same situation. Like, it really depends on their past experiences, genetics, previous experiences, age, social support, attachment, relationship, resilience, and access to the effective treatment. So just because me and my friend are going through the same situation, that doesn't mean that the outcome we will receive the same. It totally differs to person. The good thing that I have seen that he doesn't ask in the book like what's wrong with you. He's like what's happened with you or what happened to you. Like this perspective really changes the blame game and towards the understanding. It recognizes the some behaviors which we appear and irrational on the surface. It has developed for the rational reason and extremely difficult circumstances. There are times I'm a regular traveler in the local train. There are times when a lady comes up for no reason, she bashes on someone, and sometimes I do think what she might have gone through right now. There are high chances in the morning she had a fight for with her husband or child, or maybe a rickshaw wala had a fight with her, or maybe someone in her house has been lost due to death. So because certain person reacts to you in some way, that doesn't mean that he is reacting to you because they are angry on you. There are high chances that they are angry on you because something has happened to them and it had came on you. That doesn't mean they have the authority to bash on you, but still there are times which things are not in our control. Thing so like the same situation explains in the book, the how we react totally different to each and every person, because in my opinion intuition is something which is built. Like, there were certain things that I have two ex-boyfriends, so there are certain things which I had unconsciously noticed about them. So next time I had date I was on a date with a guy, I had instantly realized he is a red flag, because there was certain things unconsciously which had I had recognized in them, that it was very easy for me to recognize in the third person, because I had built my intuition through the experiences. That is how things happen with us. I'm not telling that my intuition has to be right, or it is just, but there are some things in when you have experience you could just understand it unconsciously. Because in Atomic Habits book, there he talks about an incident where a doctor who works for the heart patients and stuff, when for a long day after many days she met a father-in-law, and there is something which clicks to her, and she just knew that he is gonna have a heart attack. He admits, and it gets to know that he had heart blockages and okay. It is not something which she has analyzed it consciously, but unconsciously she just knew that one someone has blood in their face and something that it really catched to her, just because she had reviewed many hundreds of patients. That's what she had built that intuition like that. I have strong belief that intuition is something which is built on the experiences. Here, the author also takes us through the brain functions which our brain do. First, we will talk about the amygdala function. It's a brain alarm system. It detects potential threats, prepares for the body for the action, it senses danger, it gives the stress response for the increased heart rate, sharpened attention, and release stress hormones. These are the reactions which are essential for our survival. Then he talks about hippocampus. It plays a different role. It organizes memories and plays the experiences with a timeline. It distinguishes between the something that happened years ago and which is happened right now. Then he talks about the prefrontal cortex. It is responsible for the highest cognitive abilities, with things which regulate emotions, evaluate the situation logically, make decision, inhabit impulsive decision reactions. Under the certain circumstances, remarkably it works really good. But trauma can disrupt this process very hard. Like due to overwhelming stress, the brain prioritizes careful reflection. Immediate reactions become more important than thoughtful analysis. This makes a evolutionary sense, and if someone is facing immediate danger, this isn't the time for the lengthy reasoning. For example, if a wife has lost her husband because of accident or because of a car accident, there are high chances that she will not let her child drive a car in future, because there is something which trauma which she have gone through because she lost her husband in a car accident. It may project into her child unconsciously, even though she knows that having a car accident would be a very rare case for him, because having a car accident is a, yeah, it is a norm now, but not everyone goes through the car accident. If there are hundreds of cars, then one accident happens, but still there is something which had made a situation in her mind which she doesn't allow him to drive the car because she has lost her husband in that process. And from my personal experience, I have seen that trauma has very confusing situation. Sometimes you don't know why you are reacting like that. It often, your reactions are very not valid, or not valid, but they are excessively big to a certain things. But awareness does not allow just stop them. And just because you intellectually know how to stop and travel, that doesn't mean there are many things which are being stored in your DNA. There are high I also believe that there are certain habits you get through your genes. Like many of these habits that I have, bad habits, when I analyze them, that why do I do have certain habits, I have realized that, oh, in my family someone has these habits, I have grew up watching them. There are unconsciously which we also have habits. But yeah, really reacts like it is still in past but not present. Your cells are built on the basis of the past cells, but for you to generate new cells, new good cells, you have to start a new habit today. And this observation really shows you how things which have happened in your past still affects you. There is something which, interestingly, Vandal Koch has argues that moments of overwhelming stress, brain is focused on the survival rather than careful recording. Instead of a clear narrative, it may encode fragments of experience, intense emotion, bodily functions, bodily sensations, sound, smells, visual impression. Later, it represents something which is present, resembles a part of an original experience. These fragments can return with the extraordinary intensity. Scientists and modern scientists have also revealed that your people who do sleepwalking or have the memory flashbacks, nightmares are also a deep reflection of the psychological trauma which you are holding inside your body. in the broad agreement of the traumatic memories can be experienced in the ways of the unusual, vivid, or emotionally powerful way. Let's take an example of a girl who has been sexually assaulted in her past, or she has seen a person being sexually assaulted in a home or in a school or in something. Let's assume that she is going through a garage. She hears someone walking behind her back in a loud footsteps. There are high chances that she might have her heart racing, she's automatically into her panic state because her trauma is built on her past experiences. The chronic state of the vigilance can be exhausting. The interference with sleep, concentration, relationship, work, and overall well-being. It really shows out that described us that trauma is not simply by the moments of fear but ongoing destruction of the body ability to feel safe. That's the thing. Just because she has heard someone's story about being sexually assaulted, there are high chances in the future moments she might also feel the same because she has experienced that situation. Even though the man behind her walking may or may not have the intention of assaulting her in that way, but still, those are the same reactions which will show up in her body. There is a clear difference between thinking safe and feeling safe. Like there are many times which happens where we think we are in the safe environment, but still mentally we are somewhere else and we are not completely feeling safe. Like right now, I was at the Jantar Mantar protest, which not Jantar Mantar protest, which CGP protest had happened in India, in Delhi. I was at the Mumbai event. Mentally, everything was safer for women, especially. I was in Mumbai. Mumbai is really safe city for women. But there was a crowd of, I can easily tell you, there were a lakh people. For there, mentally and if you logically think everything was safe. But there was certain part of me who was mentally still not feeling safe. It was not just about men were good at their place, but mentally you have someone thoughts that, oh, he might touch me in a bad way. I have to be safe. Yeah, there is a difference between feeling safe and thinking safe. There are many times that have happened. The traumas which I have from my father wounds are more likely to show up in the person which I chose to date. Many things which I have felt like the things which I am not feeling safe as a child have showed up in my relationships or the friendships which I am going through. Like there was a time when I had a friendship betrayal because my two best friends, two different best friends, be best friends, and I have been left out. And just because I was not healed from that trauma, it really showed up. The same situation showed up again when I was in college student, first year college student, where my two best friends have turned into best friends. So yeah, here and which is where it also shows that healing from a certain situation is so hard, like healing from your friendship breakup or or beautiful relationship, healing from it and letting go of the memories of it, which is so hard. On this situation, Vandal Polk has a very compassionate answer to give. He suggests that these reactions are not evidence of weakness or lack of intelligence, they are signs that nervous system has learned patterns that once promoted survival. So yeah, when that first thing had happened where my two best friends had became best friends, when I was in 8th grade, and at that time I was in my survival state where I didn't have any option but to be in survival state and be still be in that friendship, in that toxic friendship, which had eventually had gotten over, but still it showed up 4 or 5 years later, where the same situation had happened because I was not completely healed from it, and my body had stored that trauma in me. Certain approaches which he had showed is top down and bottom up. Let's hear what it's about. Top down approaches begin with a conscious thought. They involve talking, reflecting, analyzing, making sense of experiences through language. Many forms of psychotherapy use these methods for countless of people for the enormous being valuable. being able to describe what happened, emotional patterns, build a coherent narrative, reduce shame, increase self-awareness, strengthen emotion credibility. He really shows the benefits of it are. He argues that trauma often reaches to the beyond conscious thought. If the body remains chronically active, insight alone may not be completely resolved symptoms. This was all about top down, and now we are talking about bottom up. Instead of beginning with thoughts, these methods focus on the physical experience, breathing, posture, movement, sensory awareness, awareness system regulation. The idea of that trauma affects the body, recovery may involve helping the body experience safety again. This does not mean that therapy is ineffective. Rather, a book encourages integrated perspective. Healing may involve cognition, emotion, relationship, bodily experiences working together rather than rely on the one approach. Let me explain you what does do mean. Let's talk about the top down thing. It is all about therapy where you talk about the thing, you vent out the things which you have felt. Like there was a time when I was going through my first breakup. I was just not doing well, but I was who would come to conversation about that breakup which happened. I would just vent it out and let it be outside of me. I had I had wrote many multiple journals about it. Then I had tore off this because I really wanted the all the things which I'm feeling inside my body to get out of it. The second approach is bottom up. Bottom up is all about you doing healing practices. Like for example, you could do breathing to avoid certain thoughts. Like consciously breathing could change the way you are living or seeing the approaches the thing or body recovery you can do. There are vipassana there 10-day vipassana happening all over the world in especially India. You could do that, which you are making like if difference between the two is about the top down is that you are removing things from the internally to outside, but in bottom up it's all about you are creating an environment or the external a situation around you which will allow your internal matter to dissolve or get removed by it. One of the key things that this book is talking about, childhood is not shaped by mainly it's not shaped by the things which you eat or where you are living, but it also reflects childhood is also built on the emotional regulations which you're going through consistent and supportive relationship. Children gradually learn how to calm themselves, trust others, and manage difficult emotion. There is a popular saying: a child does not learn what you say, but what you do. There are many habits which we have, which are not learned on the basis of what other people are saying. Oh, eat good food, but also, do you see? Does your child have seen you eating good food? Then eventually it becomes a conscious habit of them to do this the same. This book very goodly discusses about a prolonged childhood adversity and may influence emotional regulation, attention, self-esteem, relationship, physical health later in life. It also asks you to think beyond a single event. Sometimes a repeated absence of safety, predictability, and emotional support that leave the deepest marks in your body. This book also highlights the thing about the attachment styles. There is also a book called Attachment. You could read that, but also there are four types of attachment, which is mainly dependent on the your caregiver, what they have given you. There are also websites which talk about the attachment site, and you can identify yours and go for it. If you had a really good secure attachment style with your caregiver, it also reflects in your adulthood and your day-to-day life relationship. This book mainly highlights the trauma changes the way people experience the present. It narrows down the attention to the potential danger. It may look like ordinary situation feel predictable. It can interfere with trust, intimacy, creativity, support, joy, and many people consciously choose those limitations because the survival has become their nervous system most priority. The very very good thing that he tells in this book, that there are certain techniques or practices from which you can get over a bit of your trauma, but every single person who has gone through trauma needs different treatments. Not a person with a person with childhood trauma and person with childhood trauma, they both might need different therapy or different types or techniques to get over things, because every person is a different and their needs and their personal experiences matter on which they react. He tells a very very good line. Recovery isn't about experiencing fewer flashbacks or lessening their anxiety. It's all about regaining the ability to trust, to feel connected, to feel joy, and to be present in everyday life. To develop a sense of the agency on your one's future. Therapy is something which it should give you ability to reconnect with your younger or higher self once again, and it might be a slow recovery, but there are high chances that it may reduce your anticipating in danger and slowly discover your curiosity, confidence, and creativity. That was it for this review for this book. I can't talk much about the last chapters where he talk about the how to recover from it and what are the very well techniques which people do, but these are the techniques I feel you should read about it. But he mainly talks about how trauma is real and that its effects are very very profound, and understanding it through the lens of compassion, science, and humility. Also, he reminds us human beings possess an extraordinary capacity for adaptation, which you as a humans or any animal or any type of animal which require to feel safe and not just in another survival mode all the way. And it is no wonder why it is most seller and an influential book of the decade. I highly recommend each and every person living on this world or to read this book and have a reflection on yourself, because I'm very very sure that this book had a really really huge impact on me, and I already know out of all as an age 20 woman, this is one of my favorite book to read and go through it. I highly recommend, and thank you for watching this video till now. I love you.